Hey guys, how y'all doing today? My name is Franchise Fanatic and welcome back to the channel. And today, if you guys, this is another Star Wars video. Today we're tackling the second film in the Skywalker Saga, Star Wars Episode 2, Attack of the Clones. Now, upon, reviewing this film or upon rewatching this film, I always had this in my mind that, oh, this is my least favorite one, or it's the worst one. And while, I just finished watching the movie for like the 18,000th time, and again, I have to, much like The Phantom Menace, Episode 1, I have problems with that film, but I love watching it because it's Star Wars, and it is a good film. It just has a few little problems here and there. And this is kind of the same freaking thing, except that the good in this movie is so good that when something negative happens, you immediately notice and go, oh man, because like Episode 1, it's a little slow, there's not as much action, it's just not overall the most entertaining film in the world. And it is entertaining, but it's not the most entertaining of the Skywalker Saga. And this one, I feel like really is one of the most engaging and entertaining Star Wars films in the entire franchise, period. Especially that, third act of, the Petronaki Arena is gold. Seeing all the Jedi rush in and just kill all the battle droids is awesome. C-3PO has some really good jokes. I think that The Rise of Skywalker has the best C-3PO jokes, but this is the second. I think this is a really good film for him. Or I guess. And then we also get a lot of cool stuff with the Battle of Geonosis, technically the first Clone War battle. Very cool stuff. The visual effects, I'll get to it, but it looks freaking awesome. And then we get the Count Dooku and Obi-Wan and Anakin Skywalker and Yoda fight. So, the third act of this film is just go, 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 go. There's so much going on, and it's really, really fun to watch. The whole film is like that as well. It's really cool to kind of see, Hayden Christensen as Anakin. Look, not the best. I know people are like, oh, George Lucas told him to act a certain way. And look, I will be honest. There are moments in this film where he is good. He's not terrible the whole time. Shmi's death, very good. There's a few moments in there. I think the sand line, I don't like sand, it's good. I think that's a good line. Honestly, I do. I think it's a very good line. A lot of people take it out of context. They go, oh, the sand line makes no sense. It actually does make sense because Padme, I'll quickly get into it, but Padme is talking about Naboo, right? A water planet, technically, I guess. Not Camino water, but you get the idea. She's like, oh, I grew up on Camino, or I grew up on Naboo, and, I love to swim in the water, and we used to lie on the sand to dry off. And Anakin retorts by saying, I don't like sand. Not only just, he's not saying I don't like the grains of sand, like the individual, he is because he's an awkward teen, and that's the way George wanted him to portray the character, and I understand that. Technically, that makes sense, because, he's been freaking training with the Jedi for 10 years. This is probably the first chick he's seen that isn't a Jedi in 10 years. So, I'd be awkward as hell, too. But it is kind of funny that Anakin says, I don't like sand. He does say, I don't like sand because it's coarse, it's rough, it's irritating, and it gets everywhere. That's more of a joke. If you really analyze the scene, Padme loves the water, and she grew up on a peaceful and loving planet. Anakin hates the sand, and he grew up as a slave in a shitty planet. So it makes complete sense, that scene. Anyway, I just wanted to get that over with. So, going on to Hayden Christensen as an actor, again, there's some good scenes and there's some good writing. That's the thing about this film. There's so many really cool and awesome good moments that when something bad happens, for example, Padme is saying, I truly, deeply love you. Get the fudge out. No one in the world says that. No one. And if you say that, you're high. Or you're on death sticks or some crap. Because that's not a line, And I get it. It's just bad. Look, I think the romance in this film is okay. I don't entirely believe that Anakin and Padme, would get married just like that over 2 freaking hours. But, of course, a day or whatever. But, thankfully the Clone Wars animated TV show is a thing. And, really, upon watching, if you watch 1, 2 Clone Wars and then 3, it makes more sense. And there's more context. However, in just this film, it's alright. But, I think that scene, for example, when, Padme saying, Anakin's like, I thought you said you wouldn't love me, that our lives would be destroyed. And Padme says, I'm pretty sure our lives are about to be destroyed anyway. They should have cut it at that scene, or at least cut to them kissing at that shot of them in the, going out in the arena, saying I truly deeply love you. That is hands down the worst line in the film, worst line in any Star Wars film, period. Again, George Lucas has a habit of he doesn't understand. He doesn't understand because, Padme is saying, I truly deeply love you. You don't need to hear, the audience does not need to hear Padme saying to Anakin she loves him. through good acting and quality storytelling, we should know that she loves him. We don't need to be told anything. We just need to be shown. And George, of course, has to take the option of, well, you know, if I don't write that she loves him, no one will know. It's like, no, we'll know. You don't need to say it. You know what I mean? It's just a horrible, horrible line. In a very good scene. I think it's actually a pretty good scene. That shot where they're being wheeled out into the arena is freaking awesome. And then from there, the whole movie is just awesome. But again, going forward, Hayden Christensen isn't that bad. I think he does get overhated, much like Jake Lloyd did. But there are moments where, you know, I don't know, it's a bit weird. You know, where he's saying, I hate them. You know, it's just like, I don't know, he's like, you know what I mean, just doing that, you know what I mean? He's just going kind of crazy with his face. And I get it, his lips are quivering, I understand, but, you know, it is kind of weird that, you know, I don't know, whatever. But, you know, there are moments in that were are very good. For example, his reaction to Shmi's death and him kind of destroying the Tuscans. I do wish that scene was a little bit longer. I get it, they wanted to have that PG rating, even though technically this movie should be PG-13 since there's, like, decapitations galore, and people getting punched and kicked and shot and stabbed and whatever. It's definitely not a kid's film, but, you know, it's pretty violent for a PG movie. It's definitely pushing the boundaries of PG. But it's hard for me to even say it because it is strange. I don't know if this is the worst one now. You know what I mean? It's weird because this is more entertaining and engaging, and it is better made than The Phantom Menace. The shot composition is better. The editing is a little better. I think the acting between you know, Ewan McGregor is great. Again, Jar Jar Binks is barely in it, which, you know, I don't mind Jar Jar Binks. I think he's a fine character. I think he gets overhated, but there's so many moments in this film again that are so good. You know, Jango Fett's introduced. The whole clone thing is introduced. The whole you know. Sypha Dyas, Count Dooku, Darth Tyrannus thing. Again, the whole third act is just a freaking blast to watch. You know, it's so much fun. Even the opening scene, you know what I mean, where they're kind of like Padme's like, who's trying to assassinate me? And, you know, Zam Wessel's trying to attack him on Coruscant. You know, Obi-Wan's gliding on the thing. It's a fun movie to watch. And there's just certain moments where you're like, okay, you know, I mean, like there's one or two acting moments that are kind of weird. There's a few lines that are a bit strange. Again, I do think the sand line is good. The I truly deeply love you can go F itself. And I do think for the most part, this is a very good film. And I think it does get overhated, but it is the weakest of, I think, the Skywalker saga in terms of, you know, how it's made. But in terms of the film itself, you know, the events, it's a freaking awesome Star Wars movie. But in terms of, again, as a film, there are some issues. Not, you know, for The Phantom Menace, I had a lot of nitpicky things, like, oh, there's a wire plugged into her, oh, Padme's talking to herself, or, you know, just dumb, Obi-Wan's wig is going nuts, you know what I mean? It's just random stuff like that. But in this film, there aren't as many nitpicky things. Like, I was really trying to look at the Patronaki Arena when all the Jedi are just going ape crap on the droids. I was looking to see the Jedi, you know, because obviously you're focused on the foreground of, you know, Padme, Anakin, Obi-Wan, all that, but I was looking at the background like, oh, is there going to be like some random Jedi just kind of standing there, just hitting no one, or, you know, just something stupid? And no, I was actually pretty impressed. A lot of the Jedi in that scene, if you're looking at them, they're either dual-wielding crap or they're just going in, and they're actually, you know, I mean, like, they don't just swing at nothing and nothing happens. Like, you see, at least I saw, every Jedi who took a swing at a battle droid actually made contact with a battle droid, or they blocked the blaster bolt or something. It was actually pretty cool. And, you know, normally I'm looking at the characters in the foreground, but the CGI in this film, I'll go on to that next. This is a freaking good-looking film for 2002, the same year as Spider-Man, Sam Raimi. That movie looks like dog shit compared to this film. I'm not even kidding. This movie holds up very well. Now, yeah, the clone troopers are all CGI. It doesn't look too good. You know, as of now, I think that is a little bit lazy. They went, you know, that is one of the prequel's faults where they went, oh, well, we can do CGI, so let's just do everything CGI. Screw it. You know what I mean? They won't notice. Well, we notice. Yoda, you know, for being CGI, he's okay for 2002. He does not hold up, you know what I mean, in you know, 2022. F me. That's like 10 years. Jeez, that's more. Wow. That's a long time. This movie's really old. But I do think that, you know, some of the CGI, especially Yoda, like I said, doesn't hold up too great. It's not bad. It's just, you know, not the best. Especially compared to, like, you know, Lord of the Rings, which came out around the same time. That looked really good with Gollum and all that. But, you know, I think that the clone troopers look good as CGI. But, again, you can tell they're CGI. And it does have a bit of a laziness factor, even though it is good looking, technically. They should have made some practical, you know, armor or something, you know what I mean? Even some battle droids, I don't know. But I do think, you know, the final battle of Geonosis, where all the clones and the troopers are, the clones and the droids, they're going in, and, you know, there's the Republic battleships and the Separatist troops. They're all just going in the you know, Geonosis. it looks effing awesome, man. Like that shot where there's all the smoke and the clones and the droids are shooting, and you see like the blaster reflections of the light and the smoke. It looks fantastic, and I do think that this film really looks good, especially compared to even in 2022. It looks good. The only thing that, again, is a downgrade to this film is some of the acting's a bit weird, especially from Hayden, and Natalie, I think, is better in this film. I think there's one moment that really made me, oh, she's better now. In episode 1, there's a scene when Anakin's in the pod race, right? And he's going around the thing, and Padme's looking, and she goes, "Look, here he comes," like that. I probably mentioned it in my episode 1 review, but she goes, "Look, here he comes." Like, are you bored out of your mind? You know what I mean? Like, say it. Look, here he comes. Something better than, look, here he comes. You know, it's fudge me. Are you high? You know, Jesus. And then in this film, she said, look, when the Republic troops come in and Yoda comes in with all the clones. That was a good look. So either she had better acting lessons or she just got older and she's just naturally better at acting. I can't really tell. Again, in episode 1, she is the queen technically, and the queen is kind of supposed to be more stoic, more kind of like viceroy. You know, I mean, she's supposed to kind of be more royal and regal, I guess. But then you get the Jedi too. A lot of people kind of criticize the Jedi. And look, let's just be honest. The original trilogy and the sequel trilogy, they are more like our times. You know, the Jedi talk almost Shakespearean. They're very, you know, like when Mace Windu walks into a room, he doesn't go, "Hey Yoda, what's up?" You know what I mean? He slowly walks in, he sits on his little poofy chair, and he waits and then he goes, "What's up?" You know what I mean? The Jedi, that's just how they are in canon. You know, I mean, they are very kind of stoic and very kind of like the royal guards in, you know, London or some shit. You know, I mean, they just stand there like this the whole time. They don't really do a whole lot of stuff, and that's the point. And I do like, one of the best things about the prequels is that they show the fall of the Jedi, and yeah, they think that they're the best. And even Dooku's like, "Hey, the bad guy is like in charge of your Jedi," and Obi-Wan's like, "I don't believe you. You know what I mean? You're full of banta fodder." And it turns out, no, like, Dooku's telling the freaking truth. You guys are just idiots. You know, you're literally blind to your own hubris. And you know, Luke in The Last Jedi said the same thing. But there is a very much, you know, kind of vulnerable side to the Jedi in this, where they think they're all high and mighty, and they're really not. And you know, one of the best things about the Jedi is Yoda in you know, this film. He goes off on Dooku, and there's a really awesome fight. Now, a lot of people say, "Oh, not Christopher. What the hell's his name? Christopher Lee." They go, "Oh, he's really good sword fighting." Look. 99% of this fight, every fight in Dooku, and even episode 3, which I'll review next, of course, is a face replacement. And you can tell, because he's blurry as hell. You know what I mean? It's not Christopher Lee. He's not doing all these crazy flips. You know, I get it. Maybe he was a fenceman or whatever. But, look, if you really pay attention, which I did for this review, Christopher Lee is 99% not Christopher Lee. It's some random dude who's doing it, you know, so whatever. But, you know, you hardly notice it in motion. I was just really looking for it for the review. But a lot of people had an issue, especially this one YouTuber, which I'm not going to name. I brought it up before. But remember in episode 5, when Yoda is like training Luke on Dagobah, and he's like, "We'll get to it." And he goes, "Oh, a Jedi uses the Force for knowledge and defense, never attack." And, you know, in this, he uses the Force technically not to attack. But, you know, he fights Dooku. And apparently this one YouTuber had a big freaking problem with that. And he's like, well, Yoda said in episode 5 not to do that, but then in this film he did it. Well, I hate to be the bearer of bad news to this guy, which I'm not going to name because he's an idiot. But episode 2 comes before episode 5. That's simple math. Are you an idiot? And then, of course, we get the scene where Yoda literally... It's also a beautiful scene because not only is the fight awesome, but Yoda loses the fight, and ultimately we know what happens with the Jedi in Order 66 and all that crap. And one of the reasons why Yoda goes into exile on Dagobah is because he effed up. And that's why he teaches Luke not to, you know, Luke in the originals and the sequels, which we'll get into, Luke kind of values, you know, the power of not using the lightsaber. You know what I mean? Yoda and every Jedi in the prequels, whenever there'd be danger, they grab their lightsabers and try to murder whatever the heck moved. You know what I mean? That was their thing. It's either you kill the enemy or you become the enemy. And that was one of the reasons why they kind of fell under. But I think it's a really good scene. This also has some really great lightsaber fights, and it also has the worst lightsaber fight in history, where Anakin is fighting Dooku after, you know, Dooku kind of, you know, hits Obi-Wan's leg, and he kind of can't really stand on it, so he's kind of laying down the whole fight, and you see Anakin kind of cut like a wire, right? And it goes boom, you know, everything's dark, and it's a good fight up until this one point, and it's like 3 or 4 different shots of. I mentioned this in when I reviewed this like 2 years ago or whatever. But Dooku and Anakin you know, it's dark, and I get what they were trying to do with the aesthetic, but it just looks like dog poop, because it's Dooku and Anakin going like this. Like, imagine I'm holding a lightsaber, and I have one right there, but I'm not going to grab it. Imagine I'm holding a lightsaber, and it's like Sandy Cheeks and SpongeBob rattling some cattle. That's what they're doing. They're like with a lasso. They're just doing this. And Anakin's like, you know, it looks so stupid. And you see his face, Anakin, this one shot, Anakin looks like he's taking a poop. He's like, and he's just like, you know, like, God, this effing sucks. And then right after that, it's good choreography, and it's really good, it's awesome, and we're back to it. You know, it's stuff like that. It's like, you know, there's that one Padme line that ruins the scene, but the rest of the scene is great. Or there's that one lightsaber shot that's really stupid and wonky looking, but the rest of it's really good, you know. And then I have to also mention the worst scene in probably any movie I've ever seen, where, you know, Anakin's like, they're kind of professing their love to each other after they eat lunch, which is a good scene. And then we get this, you know, Padme's in a new outfit, you know, yeah, she's looking sexy and all that, but Anakin, we need to talk about him for a minute, because he's, oh boy, in this, he's kind of, you know, I'll do anything, you're in my heart, and the kiss you should have never given me, and I'm haunted, and I'm like, dude, shut up, you know what I mean? Like, I get it, George Lucas trying to write romantic thing, he's not doing it. There's a lot of scenes in this film that work romantically, in my opinion. The scene where Anakin pretends he gets knocked off that big tick thing, and, you know, he kind of pranks Padme. That, I genuinely believed that they liked each other. I genuinely did. And then they follow up with, "I'll do anything you want!" You know what I mean? It's like, Jesus Christ, you know? It's like, every single time there's something really, really, really good in this film, it gets bogged down by something really stupid and unnecessary. And again, I do honestly think that this film is more fun to watch than episode 1. You know, I mean, the third act is great, you know, save for this thing, and I think that, you know, Padme is better, except for that one "I truly deeply love you" line. Hayden Christensen is not bad. He has some pretty good emotion. Again, he's playing a teenager. He's playing well, not really. He's an adult. He's 19. He's playing a 19-year-old who has never seen a pretty woman or any woman that wasn't holding a lightsaber for 10 effing years. So, yeah, he's awkward. You know what I mean? There are moments. There's one shot in kind of the beginning where Anakin's like, "Oh, sorry, my lady," and the camera pans on him, and he's just like, he's really creepy. It looks like he wants to just like bone her right there, and it just looks really, really awkward and weird. There's another shot where they're eating soup, and Anakin clearly tries to hit on her. It doesn't work, and it's awkward. And then Anakin's face, he's like, "Yeah, this is awkward." So, you know, Hayden's not bad. You know, I mean, he's supposed, my friend's like, "Oh, he's such a whiny bitch." I'm like, well, that's kind of the point. You know, I mean, he's Luke was whiny. Ben Solo was whiny. You know what I mean? A few people were whiny. And I think that's kind of the point, you know, when he's like, "He's jealous of me." You know, that's kind of the point of his character. And, you know, there are certain moments, again, where the acting and writing could have been a little better. But for the most part, Anakin did a pretty good job, I think. You know, the whole, "I slaughtered them like animals," you know, it's a great scene. But I think it could have been done better. You know what I mean? It's not a bad scene. It just, there are certain moments like that as well. So it is a very strange film for me to review because, again, there are objectively, I think, bad moments like the "I truly love you" line, or the cattle wrangling scene, or, you know, the whole, you know, "you're in my very heart," the kiss thing. That's bad. But there are also good, genuinely good moments, like the whole third act, or, you know, the Jango Obi-Wan fight on Kamino, the whole idea of the clone army and Jango Fett and Boba Fett, and all these really cool things. I think it's a fairly good film. I don't think it deserves the hate it gets. Now, does it deserve the criticism? Yeah, there's a few things that are a little weird. But to call this film the worst film ever made, no. This is probably my least favorite. If not, it might be tied with episode 1 as my least favorite or the worst in the Skywalker saga. But I've seen movies that are 10 times worse than this that I own. Catwoman, Batman and Robin, Batman Forever, the Star Wars Holiday Special, Box Trolls. Those suck poop, and they always will. But this film, yeah, it's the worst probably in the Skywalker saga, but there's so many good moments in this film that whenever there's a weird or questionable or quote-unquote bad scene, you know, yeah, there's one line where the "I truly deeply love you." I literally, my face cringed. My face like turned inside out and backwards. It was weird. And, you know, then a second later it was fine. But, so don't worry. But there's so many moments in that where it's like, "This is so good," and then you're like, "Ah, damn it, they ruined it," or, you know, something like that. So it is hard for me to review it. I'm going to probably give Attack of the Clones, I'm probably going to give it a B+. I think it is slightly higher than Phantom Menace because this movie is more fun to watch. There's not as much talking, and that's not really, again, a negative. The Phantom Menace needed that because it's the first film. You got to address things and build your world. But you know, now that we've addressed the world of Star Wars, you know, we kind of go straight up into it with a really cool speeder chase, and then, you know, the whole love thing, and then you got the murder mystery case with Obi-Wan, and, you know, you get the end fight. The visual effects are really great. The acting is good for the most part. The writing is good for the most part. You know, little hitches here or there, but I do think this is a pretty good film. And, you know, it does not deserve the hate it gets. Again, I have issues with it, as I just gave you a few of them, but I do watch this film willingly. I love watching this film, and I always will. You know what I mean? It's not like I go, oh, God, I gotta watch episode 2 now. You know, I genuinely like watching this film. And, you know, I cannot wait to review Revenge of the Sith, which is, I think, again, objectively the best of the three. You ask anyone in the world, they're probably going to say episode 3 is their favorite of the prequels. But I cannot wait for that. Again, tell me in the comments down below what you think about Attack of the Clones. I think it's a very good, I don't want to say very good, because I gave it a B+, I'd probably give it an A at that point, but it's a good film. I think it's more fun to watch than episode 1, and it's slightly better made production-wise, you know, editing, shot composition, all that, lighting, than episode 1. However, there are some really weird lighting, or some line choices, some weird cattle wrangling scenes, you know, just some stuff that doesn't really hold up. You know, like I said, Count Dooku, you can tell it's just a face replacement, but again, it's 2002, what do you want to do? But again, I do enjoy this film, and I cannot wait to play it in LEGO Star Wars The Skywalker Saga, again, for myself, and then for you guys eventually on my base Xbox One. So I am filming the game. You know, I'll see. I don't have the game yet to test, but I'm assuming it'll work on Xbox One. But yeah, man, I can't wait. I think episode 1 is good, episode 2 is good, and I cannot wait to watch episode 3, and then I got 4 through 9 coming up after that. You can tell me in the comments down below what you think. Again, it's kind of hard for me to put a cork on it, because every time I watch this movie, I'm like, okay, you know, I have this preconception where I'm like, this isn't a good movie, and then I watch it, I'm like, oh, it's a good movie, but there's a few weird things in there, you know what I mean? It's just, again, it's not as nitpicky as I had with 1, where, you know, there were a few things in 1 where I'm like, oh, that line was weird, or Padme's talking or stuff, like I said, or the chord thing I keep bringing up, but there's little things like that, and there really aren't many little things like that in this film. They're more main things, but the main things that are bad don't even come close to the good in this film. I'm going to give, again, Attack of the Clones B+. I cannot wait to review episode 3. All Star Wars is good. Thank you guys, and we'll see you in the next video.